and let's go ahead and do some Mcfarlane news. A couple of topics I want to get through here today. We are going to take a look at the first Mcfarlane crowdfunding project. I do want to talk a little bit about the Mcfarlane Toy Store Knightfall 2-pack status, and I also want to talk a little bit about our weapons and handguns back in the DC Multiverse toy line. Now, first up, if you know me, I do not collect the Superpowers toy line from Mcfarlane. At this point in time, I'm just not really into 6-inch or anything smaller. It just doesn't do anything for me. I'm a really big fan and proponent of the 7-inch scale. It just feels better in my meat hooks. Really fun to pose and articulate and display. So I really have moved on from any sort of 6-inch line or 5-inch line or 4-inch line. It's just not going to be for me. Now, it does depend on what it is or what character it is. I may end up picking it up just, for the thrill of it. But for the most part, I really am enjoying the 7-inch scale from McFarlane's DC Multiverse. Now, that's not to say that I don't revere the Superpowers line, because I do, mainly because I can tell that collectors are usually pretty hyped about this line. They do seem to be doing fairly well sales wise, and they do offer a lot of cool value and variety, not just for collectors, but also for your regular standard consumer. These are a lot more kid friendly because they have fewer parts and are smaller figures. So I'm really happy for anybody really enjoying this throwback Superpowers line from McFarlane. Now, recently, they have finally dipped their toes into the crowdfunding market. Now, I think this is a little test because the way they set it up and the way they did it through the Superpowers line, it seems like this is just pretty much like a quick dry run to see how it goes. Now, one of the pros about this is that it basically comes down to, if you're interested in it or if it's something that you want to pick up, then you support it. You are definitely the targeted consumer for this. And if you do not want it, it doesn't do anything for you, you can just skip it. And that is a good thing about our open free market, is anybody's allowed to spend their money the way they want and decide how to support different companies and different products. But of course, you still have people in the comments, or, of course, they are free to voice their opinion, but they are not too happy about the product that is there. They say that it's just repaints, only the vehicles are worth it. And that is a good part about the way McFarlane set this one up. And that is that there are tons of different little packages that you can choose from. You can only get the figures, you can only get the vehicles, you can get one vehicle with some of the figures, a lot of different little bundles and ways you could support this crowdfund. There's even some other extras, and I think a t-shirt is in there. So there are, lower tiered ones and then higher tiered ones. It's all up to you to decide what you would like to jump into. Now, from what I saw, they do have a Black Manta and an Aquaman with the Black Manta figure that goes along with this. They also have a Batman and Robin, of course, with a vehicle that pairs up with this dynamic duo. So, pretty simple. You get to decide if it's worth it or not. I think up to now, it's almost like 20% funded. Not too sure about the numbers that they want, but it still has a long way to go before it is fully funded. And I think these are 18 days left in the campaign. Now, if it goes through or not, it's up to everybody out there. And this can give you a little gauge on what will work with crowdfunding and what definitely will not work. Now, let's move on to the next topic. And that was that I recently did my review for the Knightfall 2-pack of Bane and Battle Damage Batman. Now, in that video, I did see a lot of comments, and I have seen a lot of comments on Instagram that people were like, oh, McFarlane hasn't shipped out his 2 packs. He's dropping the ball. He should be the first one. I'm still waiting on mine. Uh, in all honesty, I ordered from him as well, but I'm happy to report that mine has shipped. So that is an indication that everybody should pretty soon be getting their notifications that their 2 pack has shipped. So that was just a little announcement that I wanted to make because I did see a lot of people wondering what happened with the Knightfall 2 packs from McFarlane's Toy Store. But I am happy to report that they should be fulfilling those orders here pretty soon. Very, very awesome 2 pack that if you are a big DC Multiverse collector, you should definitely look into picking one of these 2 packs up. And finally, we're going to talk about, it seems like McFarlane has been able to work his magic with the people at Warner Brothers. Now, we are not exactly sure how this is going to work, but we have seen the reveals of the Jonah Hex and his horse 2 pack. And one of the first things you will notice is that he does come with weapons, with firearms, with knives. And that is mainly the topic that I wanted to talk about here. Because if you think about it, when McFarlane first got the DC Multiverse line, I think he knew that it was a big selling point to actually put the weapons that go with each character. So we did get the Thomas Wayne Batman, the Grim Knight, the Red Hood. All of these figures came with their signature firearms, and even a lot of other figures did have weapons like Joker's, and even John Stewart came with that pretty sweet Gatling gun construct. But after the first initial figures from McFarlane, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers stepped in and were like, hey, we don't really want weapons with our figures, especially firearms. So McFarlane had to go with an alternate strategy. This was that after a while, from hearing from the fans that we weren't getting, the correct weapons with our figures, he did go ahead and start releasing the various munitions pack. Now, this was giving us the ability to add guns and firearms to the characters that we know really need them. You did even see something pretty cool, which was like some were specifically made for characters like Frankenstein and Peacemaker, basically had their signature weapons released within the munitions pack from McFarlane, allowing us to really complete our displays and really work well in figure photography. Now, the only thing we are not really sure of is this specifically because it was released through the McFarlane toy store? Maybe that is one way he worked around it, making a deal with Warner Brothers that if I sell it on my site, can I please, put the put the weapons in because it would really help sales. And in the end, that is really the bottom line for any company is the revenue and sales. So maybe we won't necessarily be seeing firearms and handguns in your Walmart and Target toy aisles, but this does mean that if there's any other characters like Deadshot or even Vigilante, and McFarlane decides to do those through the McFarlane Toy Store website, then hopefully they can have the weapons that go with each of those characters. Now, taking a closer look at the release of Jonah Hex, what we do see is that he does come with a nice assortment of accessories. He comes with a knife, a tomahawk axe, a long rifle, 2 Colt pistols, and even a belt that has storage for most of these weapons. He also comes with a soft goods duster. And what I really noticed about this one was that it's not as puffy as the boomerang coat or the Bane coat. It seems to be made of a thinner material, and this allows it to be a little bit sleeker and fit tighter to the figure than to be like oversized and look really frumpy. That is one thing I don't like about soft goods, is when it just doesn't fit in the scale. It looks too big for a 7-inch figure. But this material, seen as how it looks rather thin, seems to fit the 7-inch scale a lot better. Now, there are no alternate hands, but of course, you can do that on your own. I have tons of hands that I'm sure I will be able to remedy that once we get the 2-pack in. And of course, you have to mention that he comes with his trusty steed, the General, which not really sure if it's different from the Gunslinger Spawn horse or the Dark Knight Returns horse. We can really determine that once, we get it in hand. But it's really nice to get this set. I think that Gunslinger Spawn with the horse was like one of the best sets that came out during that year. Love that 2-pack. So I'm really looking forward to this Jonah Hex set. Now, there is going to be a platinum version of this Jonah Hex, but basically it is just a different color scheme, a little bit lighter colors, and the horse is a little bit more pale, is a whiter color than the standard version. Now, this is all for $70 plus shipping. You can use the MT code to negate that a little bit, so not too bad. You're basically paying $30, which is standard price for a collector's edition from Mcfarlane, and $40 for the General, which is basically considered a vehicle in the DC Multiverse toy line. So yes, I have pre-ordered mine. As of now, it is still online. You still have a chance to pre-order this. I wouldn't wait too long, because although it hasn't sold out yet, it didn't sell out, instantly. But I wouldn't, put all my money saying that it won't eventually sell out. Now, another thing is that there have been tons of releases from Mcfarlane. I mean, I haven't been able to make a lot of videos about it, but you have tons of new releases, tons of interesting and cool figures coming out here recently. Always be on the lookout. And I have recently received the White Knight Batmobile and the Tumbler. I hope I can work on those and get those reviews out pretty soon. But anyways, you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Fat Man.